Welcome back here. Another edition, Down and Back Live. We have with us here the Doghouse guys. So far, they're the only ones to show up. We haven't had the other talkers show up yet.
Who?
So yeah, I got no idea. How you guys doing?
Good.
It's a good
Crushing
day.
a little, by the way, don't hate, because there ain't no laws drinking the claws, boys.
Oh, seriously.
I'm covering up the bush with the octane.
Nice. I like it. I need one of those koozies. Koozies are I just ordered like 10 vintage Celtics koozies on the old interwebs, and looking forward to getting those in my hands.
Now, is it just
I'll
the
have to
Celtics
get
logo,
some octane ones to you.
or is it like players?
And they're like all different. Like this one is like it's like a scene from a game, and then there's like an old school throwback, like 1930s Celtics advertisement. It's just another excuse to throw a beer in a sleeve and let it rip and be fashionable about it. You know what I'm saying, Don?
Straight sexy.
Yeah. So I guess how's the vacation going?
It's going amazing. I've got more accomplished in the last 4 weeks around my house in the last 5 years, I would say. What do you think, Donnie? You got a lot of things going on up there.
I got a lot of things going on, but now the wife, I think, expects me to do stuff around the house, so I've had to hide a little more in the basement and just move boxes from one side to the other to look like stuff's happening, because she's just going to keep thinking this is going to happen for the rest of the year. Listen, once Corona's over, this shit's done.
It's not the norm.
This is not the norm. I am not domesticated.
You are like a lion roaming the Serengeti. So let me turn off my little Facebook here.
As you can see, though, I got a little bit of a tan because I went for a little long ride today.
Nice. Got on the bike?
Got on the bike, did about 150 miles, little round tripper.
I love it. Where'd you go?
Well, I had to go up to Newburyport to get my allergy shots so my eyes will open. And then I did all the back roads to the Kraken's house.
Nice. Yeah, you guys made a little bag trade, right? And Pat was on the show last night, right?
Yeah. So Pat, I did talk with Pat last night. He's going to be on Friday, and just it's like I said to him, like everyone has heard about McCracken. Nobody has.
He's a myth. So he's a myth.
He's myth. So the myth is coming out of the clouds on Friday morning.
I can attest to the fact that he is not only not a myth, he is very real. And him and I fight like brothers. We grew up in the same town, and I knew his brother more than I knew him growing up. I used to hang out with his brother's buddy, and he is. I always like people that have like you said, like whenever you have somebody like Pat or like a lot of my friends who are super passionate about things, you got to take the good with the bad. I'm the same way. I'm so all in that like it's just my wife could attest. I can be difficult to be in a relationship with.
I've been told that as well.
Yeah, I'm a difficult personality.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it comes out from time to time, But yeah, vacation's going good. We got the little pool set up in the backyard. I took Donnie. Donnie's had that for a couple of years. I took the lead from him. Got a little pool going because we're gonna be home all summer, and have the garage set up. The garage is, as you can see behind me, on full blast right now.
Kind of jealous right now.
TV is in. I watched the Charles Schwab last weekend. We've had some overage run on the budget. Not gonna lie, the owners aren't super happy. That would be the one of the queens of the Dogcast was specifically has been making some demands of other things that have to happen before all my dreams come true in here, which involves a wood stove and a door cut in. So we'll see. If I could just live out here, so that's another option.
Brendan, I have a list right here of stuff I've got to do around the house, and this list the dollars are growing exponentially.
Oh,
Because
I have.
like literally just like trying to get contractors to come in and price stuff out and everything. Oh, it's crazy.
Sucks.
Yeah.
It
Plus-
sucks.
I
Plus,
got the list, but it's all in here.
I'm still fighting
So
with
I
the
can-
damn squirrels.
Dude,
Oh, we got Corona in the chat.
nice.
So
Stevie.
we've got Corona in the chat. We've got cousin Ben who does the moderating, who was actually involved in his first Zoom chat the other night, Donnie. So we got to talk to him about that.
I got to talk to cousin Doug for a little bit.
Nice.
And it was a lot of fun.
He's
Is he
actually
Is he like cousin Mose from Shroot Farms?
Dude, so cousin Ben,
Little office.
cousin Ben in the middle of the Zoom chat takes out his axe and just starts shredding.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I gotta meet this guy because I think we have some commonalities in the music interest. Here's, by the way, here's an interesting one. So, I'm a big gambling guy. Like it's been pretty well documented on the Dogcast, which is like always. I want to say that to my wife. Like you see me blow 3 Gs at a casino, like and I'm doing something that's actually you can stand in here in this garage, but she doesn't want to hear that. So, but regardless, me and the boys, we've been struggling trying to find something to bet on. And we've been playing live cornhole, whatever. So I get this game, and I'll just talk about it for the people that can't see at home. This is called Derby Dash, right? It's like a horse racing game involving dice, and you pick horses, and you can roll dice, and it's amazing. And Donnie, when you get in here, we will be playing extensively.
But what happened to your other game?
Which one was that?
The dice game there, where you got to.
Oh, Shut the Box.
Yeah.
Oh, Dags. Yes.
Dags.
Yes. To the Down and Back Doug fans out there who don't know about Dags. Dags is a game that my buddy, who's not a cornhole player, introduced me to, and it's a wooden box basically, and you have 3 dice and you throw it, and there's like a hole, but there's like a blocker almost. So you got to go around and shoot angles, and it's scored like cornhole. It played the 21, and that game is amazing. So that is going to be up on the. I was actually really on the fence about going to buy a golden tee machine today, and then I thought like there's literally 100% chance I'll have no testicles in the morning. Like
that's a sore subject for me, Brennan. When
Why is that?
When I got engaged to my wife, she did tell me that once we had the house and kids, that I could get a full stand-up golden tee machine. We're now 14 years in, and guess what? I don't have.
Yes, you do still have a wife though. That's the one positive.
I do have a wife in a very beautiful Harley.
Yes, that's true. That you are. I mean, here's the thing. Like, and I know we're not talking about cornhole all yet, but bear with us. But when you're a married gentleman and you have responsibilities, you just need a little bit of a bone. Whether it's your cornhole league, whether it's your basement bar, your garage bar, your Harley, you need a little something that just still says, "Hey, I still have my balls." You know what I mean? Like that's you just need a little bit of something, right?
But it's the outlets, right? It's those little outlets to blow off steam, right? Whether it's a Thursday night cornhole league, whether it's going for a ride on the bike, whether it's just go to the liquor store and getting 1,000 beers. It's it's just whatever it is. You just need something to and it's not distancing from the family. It's just to kind of like just feel alive a little bit.
There you go. Well, and now we don't have cornhole right now. Still,
Yeah.
I mean,
So seeing in the chat here, I gotta say Ben had made one comment, and I have to say, Brendan, you did just come from a family engagement because he's wanting to know how many beers Brendan is in because he seems quite coherent.
Yes. Well, the story is that for some reason in Melrose, Massachusetts, 5th grade graduation is like a thing, which I grew up here and it was not a thing, and whatever.
Yeah, but do you have
and last night we had a big.
Do you have
what's
middle
that?
schools? Do you have middle schools?
Yeah.
So middle school usually it is a bigger thing. If you're in the same school, it's usually not that big.
So, anyways, it's Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I didn't have it. Like, we don't have anything like that when I was a kid. It was just like get the fuck out of 6th grade and go to the middle school. And I was the last middle school class, I think. But anyways, so last night they had a little ceremony at a buddy's house, and it was kind of a close knit group of people that I guess trusted to hopefully nobody has COVID and spreads it to each other. So I got very, very overserved by myself at this event. Luckily, it is around the corner. And let's just say that I had a good time. I enjoyed myself. I drank 1,000 beers. I was listening to ridiculous stories, telling stories. Look at that mohawk. But today was some more event that we had this afternoon, and so I am just drinking away the hangover right now. I'm on this is my third.
Ben also says nice Buck Owens guitar in the background.
Yes, that's actually a Buck Owens style, but that is a Regal 76 serial number 555. That was bought on eBay when I was super drunk one night, and it's like needs $700 worth of work. I found out after I bought it, and I didn't want to spend that money. So basically it's been sitting in my office for 5 years, and I've been like, I'm going to find a place to put this guitar at some point, and I found it. Here it is behind me. So it's not a player. It's just a looker, you know?
And Crona's back in the chat. He's got balls. They're just in his wife's purse.
Crona's one of my favorite people in the world. He knows that. He's a legend. So, Doug, you guys have been playing, right? The league's back going?
No, we had talked about it, but we were only allowed to have like 6 people together, but they'd upped that to 10, and I just found out when I got home from work here that we're now up to 15 people.
Okay.
Yeah, so our league is usually about 20 people, so we're almost there.
Isn't that half of your province?
Almost.
By the way, I do have to say my favorite that show Losers. Did you ever see that on Netflix? It's all about like guys who came in second and like big fights and stuff, big athletic events. And they have an episode that's about curling, and it's fucking awesome. And I'm just like, it looks so cold there. I can't even fathom how cold it is.
Well, I will say that yesterday here it was 95.
Woo, Jesus.
Celsius or degrees?
That would be Celsius.
So we haven't started playing up here, but there is a bar that's pretty sweet called Game Changers. That's up in New Hampshire and right over the border. I'm sure people have heard about it. Donnie's been there already, and they're running some blind draws and stuff. I haven't got up there yet, primarily because between work and other stuff, I've been like slammed. But I want to make it. I do miss playing cornhole against people. I have got to throw a few games. Actually, McCracken came over here about a week ago, and we played a few games in the backyard, and it was really nice. I'm kind of cooked on the whole ghost life. Yeah. You know, I'm kind of cooked on it. Just actually, I had fun doing it, and it really helped my game. Actually, I have to say, but like it is just really not what I like to do. I like to see people, have beers, drink. It's kind of like if I don't have the social interaction part of it, I kind of not as into the game. You know what I mean? A little bit.
Well, but I think the ghost taught us a lot, though. It taught me a lot because I realized if I don't have somebody beside me that I can talk to or talk shit to or even just be next to and not even talk to them, like I can't play this game. Like the struggle has been real for 3 months. I think we're on day 102 or something right now up here in New England. I mean, so it's crazy, but I mean, you know, I think there's going to be some better players coming out of this, but also I think there's going to be some players that are coming out of this a lot worse based on.
Well, I mean, look, I did get to play some games last weekend for a short period of time with Donnie and a small, very secretive group of individuals. And I played well. And I did notice that there are guys there that consistently have just dominated me in the 6-shooter in the Ghost game, and that I did not have really a big problem playing against them. I was playing pretty good too, and they're good. But like, here's the thing. I mean, listen, this is like you throw a block out there and you throw in Game Changers, and like unless you have that sweet ass airmail like I do, you're gonna be in for some shit. You know what I mean? Like you got a big decision to make at that point.
Well,
so
Corley posted on Twitter this week, and there was a whole debate going back and forth
Yep.
amongst the pros about the block game, that
Yep.
the block game
And
may never come back.
you can hear all about that Friday with getting McCracken on it.
Nice.
But yeah, I kind of seen that too, and it was like, I don't know. And we talked about it off air right before the show here. Is that has Ghost made the game a little more stagnant with people just going in the hole, right?
I mean, I'll tell you, and I will say this: Donnie and I think kind of went through a similar thing with the Ghost games, where I came out playing pretty decent, and then I was throwing horrible. Like I threw a 47 one round. I think it was insane. Then a 54, and then I went right back up to like 94, like 93, 85, 80s, whatever. But it did get me throwing a much flatter bag. Like I was really working on that, and I got there. So I think for me, it was ultimately good, and definitely helped me out. So I actually am thankful that we did it. But at the same time, at this point, I'm ready to set sail out of the harbor of Ghost Island. Let's put it that way.
I not having someone there throws me off. I need to have somebody there.
I'm about to scuttle the Ghost ship. I am so done with it. I am burning the mast. I am setting the whole thing on fire. I am done with Ghost.
I love it, Donnie. I love it.
Yeah. Not that there's anything bad to it. It was good for what people needed at the time.
Ghost served its purpose for what it was. It literally has, right? It literally helped everybody kind of, with a little bit of normalcy, because the one term I really don't like right now is the new normal. But it helped people kind of get through this and kept it kind of somewhat connected. And that's why I love doing a lot of the Zoom chats and all the other stuff that we did during this to kind of, stay in touch with the people that we know and love. But I am kind of glad that we're past the Ghost game now and we can get back to some sort of tournaments, whether they're smaller or whatever it is, but start playing together.
Yeah.
Yes. That said, it begs another question. Obviously, I think it's well established that no one on this show is a doctor, right? We play one on TV from time to time, Donnie, and private videos, very hush videos that have not been distributed on the internet. But regardless, a little role playing, never hurt anybody, Donnie. Spice up the marriage. You get him for your appointment, Mrs. Hearn? Anyways, but really, like, I do wonder to myself, it's like, okay, like, I think it's, and I'm not concerned about, I don't have pre-existing conditions. I'm not like really too worried. I mean, it definitely in mass, we got hit so hard. It's been on a very huge decline. Right. But I do kind of, the thing is, you do kind of wonder, it's like, okay, when is it really like appropriate, or when are you ready? And I think, Doug, you're probably to your point of like the kind of, you guys are waiting on what people are telling you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what you got to go with, in my estimation. I mean, if if they're telling us like, hey, you can't have more than 10 guys in the VFW, or you can't have this many people and they have to be 6 feet apart. I mean, I'm not really worried about it, but at the same time, as far as an organizer and organizing an event, like, I'm certainly not looking to like try to buck those rules just to get game in as soon as I can. You know what I mean?
Because you'd feel like shit if something did happen to somebody, right? And you're the one that put it together. That's the whole big thing.
That's what I would be concerned about, and especially if you don't, there's nothing you can do to control where, like, Steve, who plays in your league, was last week. You know what I mean? What he was doing, Yeah. And honestly, like I said, like, we're not concerned. Yeah, Corona, where he was.
I see that they are, like he says, they're having their first tournament this weekend.
Yeah.
Saturday, which he said he's pumped, and he's got lots of hand sanitizer.
And look, I mean,
it's right beside a dispensary.
Yeah. Ooh, nice. So, I mean, I think it is definitely a question of, like, and I don't want to be like, I'm not trying to be like fucking Debbie Downer, like, hey, mom's on the phone, like, don't drink tonight. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying that it is an interesting question to think about when you're pondering the size of some of these events and like an ACL regional or whatever. What's funny though, I have realized over this time is that because we're not playing competitively really, other than the online stuff, I'm not saying I've lost interest. I'm still just completely head over heels for cornhole. That's never going to change. But like, I'm not as like I haven't been really tuning into the ACL broadcasts because usually,
not to interrupt you, but Steve's got to leave, and he's just saying that he's going to check the replay, and he misses you guys on the air, and hopes you're back soon because I think he's done listening to the Asps. I think is what I got in the chat.
Oh man, I have to say by the way that Donnie's, for the people who will be just listening back to this, Donnie's mohawk is looking unbelievably flush tonight.
It is way better than mine. Mine is not doing anything at all.
So, anyways, I was just saying that I think we're in that spot where it's like I'm not as engaged with watching the pros just because I'm not playing as much competitively, and usually I watch that to think, okay, how would I do this situation, or what would I do in this spot? And I don't know. It's kind of like. This is going to be a horrible. I don't know how family friendly the show is, but it's kind of like watching a porno where they wear a rubber. It's like, it's like I want you to go full bore on this thing. You know what I mean? By the way, someday in my professional life, when I'm running for mayor, they're going to play this back on a loop.
No, but to your point, Brendan, the with the 10 rounds and trying to get it all on TV, the game has been sanitized. For lack of a better term, and I'm not trying to like throw a pun out there, two-thirds of a pun, PU, but like it's sanitized, right? It's like literally people are playing the game to protect a score, not to play the game, right? It's not like you're down in the 8th round, 9-4. People are going to start throwing air mails just to throw air mails, whether they need it or not. There's no block. There's no other strategy. Like, what's really hurt people during this whole time with ACL, because I haven't watched a lot of ACL. I've watched some stuff from friends, but not a lot. But with ACL, it's the bags off the back. It's the bag off the front. When this was, like, live, you weren't seeing that from the pros. That was unheard of. Like, it was a messy board. It was four-bagger, 1 or 2 points. With this whole, I got to step back and do all this other craziness, which, by the way, I don't do in the back room when I'm playing, but I have to do it on live TV. That's where it gets really messy. And these guys can't play that game because it's not the game you play. If you're not someone that steps back and resets every time for a throw, this time has hurt a lot of the ACL guys.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's not I wonder how I haven't paid attention, Donnie. You would know better than I have, but do you know how the rank of the ratings have been for these broadcasts?
They've been decent, but they've been better. They will say they've been better, yes, but that's only because nothing else is on TV.
I was going to say Dana White has said that Cornhole is outdrawn top-ranked boxing on ESPN.
But that's only because there's only really 3 live sports playing on ESPN, right? It's Cornhole, it's boxing, and it's UFC. There's been minimal stuff in between, but it's inconsequential. You're not talking MLB, you're not talking NBA, you're not talking NFL. So, I mean, you can say we had a spike in the ratings, you can use that to tout yourself, but what does it really mean when you're not going against everything else you were going against 5 months ago?
Yeah, I agree. I just think like I said, for lack of a better term, it is like watching a porno with a guy wearing a rubber. Like it's just not what I want to. It's not what. Now I'm gonna like really end up fucking putting some fucking foot in my mouth.
A body condom.
There you go, full body condom, full body rubber.
Just in those couple months when we do get back going, is that going to bring people to come out to play? Are people still going to be watching? Did they get intrigued enough to come back?
Here's what I don't understand. Okay, so I watched the Charles Schwab. I watched the golf last week because I like to watch golf, and there's literally the first sporting event, really. I watched a bit of it. Now, I mean, these guys aren't wearing masks. The guys are with their caddies, obviously. I don't know if the caddies were wearing masks. I actually didn't notice that. But, I mean, the caddies are handling the clubs. Like, I mean, if they can do it on the PGA Tour, why can't they do it on ACL? You know what I mean? Like, like give them a test before the thing comes on. And, look, you're signing a waiver saying if you're up for it, you know what I mean? Like, go for it. Obviously, there's a risk. Just because I think, I like to see the expression on somebody's face. Like, I like to see them talk shit. I like to see, I don't want to watch Jay Dotson with a mask on. I want to watch Jay Dotson, like, ripping it up, like if he's, you know what I mean? Like, that type of guy. So, because I do think, like, one of the things has turned me off, and like I said, I've not watched these broadcasts, so maybe I'm missing something, but, like, I feel like when I did watch the one, who won it, Matthew Morton there, Donnie, a few weeks ago?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he was
I watched that one, and it just felt like, I don't know. I don't think it's just them. Like, I think if the NBA comes back and I'm watching, the Celtics versus the Raptors, and it's in a bubble and there's no fans there, I'll enjoy it because I'm a huge fan of basketball. But, like, and it might be cooler in a way that you can hear them talk shit and stuff like that. But, like, at the same time, like, I want to see it with the crowd. Like, I don't want to watch the playoffs. There's nobody there. Like, I mean, I will because I'll probably bet on it, but that's a different story.
But my biggest problem right now with all major sports, I'm not talking cornhole right now, I'm talking about like MLB, NBA, NFL, is fighting over pay. You're not playing the full season right now. It's millionaires fighting against billionaires, right?
Yes.
And who's going to get the brunt of that?
You know what I can't wait for? Until baseball's never on TV ever again.
But the problem is, Brendan, we're going to take that as fans because I want to go to Fenway to see a game with my son, and you want to take your son. We're going to go together, 4 tickets.
Yep.
I would. That's a monthly mortgage for me right now.
Dude.
It's like it's like $2,000.
Let me just say this right now.
Beer, it's obnoxious.
Fuck Fenway Park. Fuck Major League Baseball.
I can't say that. I can say.
You know what? Like,
I can say baseball, just not Fenway.
Okay, listen. Let me tell you this right now. As far as I'm concerned,
I want to go to Fenway for one reason only, is that Ben and I have an uncle that when he was 15, he was asked to come down and try out for the Red Sox.
Nice.
Our grandmother wouldn't let him go, but he was asked to go down as a pitcher to try out for the Red Sox.
That's cool. That's awesome. I've got drunk there a million times, so you can also you can think about that while you're there.
Brendan,
but no, I think like a sport.
I walked home from Fenway all the way to Somerville, friggin' 5 miles.
That is a strong trot, Donnie. But like, don't just. I mean, back to the MLB versus like cornhole and all this stuff. Like, that's kind of what I like about cornhole is that it's like it's at its simplest form. Like, the best guy in the world is a fucking janitorial supply salesman. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's a regular guy. You can talk to him. You can get him on your podcast. Like, that is what's amazing about cornhole to me. What like when I look at the MLB stuff and they're fighting over, like you said, millions of bucks, and these guys, and they're going to strike next year. So there's a chance there's going to have no Major League Baseball for 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about a sport that's been on the decline for many years, and now fucking nobody's going to watch it. Like, my son could give 2 shits about baseball. Like, it doesn't do anything for him. Game's so slow, takes forever. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather watch Schindler's List, than watch fucking a baseball game. Like, basically.
So Brendan, I took
my
son.
Same Runnington.
My 10-year-old just stopped playing ball this year, so.
But I took my son to Fenway. I paid $1.50 a ticket. We sat in like right field boxes. He wanted the meatballs in center field and wanted to play in the stupid old golf cart that they used to have with the Red Sox hat on it.
Oh, yeah.
That's just sitting out there in the friggin' underground. Like, he could care less about the game. He was more worried about the atmosphere. And that's the problem with some of these sports today. If they don't start to get the younger generations interested with some of the sideshow kind of carnival stuff, they're just not going to be there anymore. And like an institution like Fenway that's been there forever, I love it. I'll go just to go, but most of the time I don't remember leaving. But they need to do
your wallet
something.
does, though.
What's that?
Your wallet does.
Oh no, when
empty
my wife
the next day.
No, when my wife does my taxes and hands me my bill at the end of the year, that gets bad.
Yeah,
that's bad.
Dude, $40 to park and $15 a beer.
Yeah.
Next time, don't I just park at my house, take an Uber in?
Yeah. Listen, when I first started going to Fenway, Uber wasn't even made yet.
No, yeah. Well, me and you both. Yeah, so I think, it's funny, back to the cornhole thing, because obviously that's what this is about.
Yeah.
And, talking about the slide-in game, the whole thing, like, I do think, like, I don't know, I think that there's going to be people who are going to emerge who are going to play a slick stick bag again. And that person will be like the Jesus Christ of cornhole to me, because, like, that is the game at its core.
Right
yeah, exactly.
So
I don't particularly think you or I are the guy, Doug, but I do think that somebody will be the guy.
That was another thing that came up, though, was that the traditional stick and slick bag is a dead bag, but I don't think it is.
Well, but what is your threshold? If someone can throw a block, what do you think is the percentage they have to throw a block to be successful?
I think I think about this a lot. I think at our level, which we'd probably just say we're competitive on a national scale, right?
Yeah.
I think you can be pretty, as long as you're pretty proficient at it. And what I mean by that is that, like, you're not chucking the bag off the side of the board very often, right? You might miss the middle and you might kind of fuck yourself a little bit. The guy you're playing against isn't going to go 4 bags in most of the time, right? So, like, you can afford a little bit of mistakes at our level, I think. You get to the higher levels and you're going to really need somebody who can throw a dart, and can pretty much hit it every time. And, I'm sure that weighs into their thought process, that they're like, now, like, I look at a kid like Matthew Morton, and, I mean, look, it doesn't look like he needs any help from me, but I think if he threw like a slick stick back, he'd be like it'd be ridiculous, because he can throw lights out. Now, I mean, I guess the other side of it is, if you're playing a guy who can throw 4 airmails and hit them all, if you're playing, Morton or whoever it is, it's a concern, because if you're throwing a really sticky bag, then you're going to have to push that bag in at some point or whatever. I still think it's not done enough, and I think that a lot of people mentally break when you do it. They just don't know how. Sean Asp talked about it on their show, that he had he had a hard time, like, adjusting to that situation. Where it's like somebody throws a stick bag and you get a viper in your hand. You're like, what am I gonna fucking do? You shit your pants. So I like it. I just wish there was, like, it's almost like turning into a thing where it's like a knuckleball pitcher, or like a guy who throws sidearm. Like, I want to see somebody who does it and is like Dan Quisenberry of cornhole. And if you know who Dan Quisenberry is,
I need some Dan Quisenberry bags.
If you know who Dan Quisenberry is, you are fucking old as fuck, like me and you and Doug.
I may have seen him a couple times, but then going back to the ESPN stuff, is it that we're not seeing these boards with all the muckiness on it, I guess, to say, because there's nobody around, so there's no humidity in those buildings. It's you know what I mean, like that.
But wait,
the boards don't change.
But Doug, were some of the pros at a disadvantage 2 weeks ago when they played outside? They were dealing with crosswinds, so, like, the conditions for those guys playing in, where was that? Was that, I forget where it was.
South Bend, Indiana.
Was that South Bend?
Yeah.
They were at a disadvantage based on the pros that played in the 2 or 3 before that, because now I'm playing outside. I have to deal with elements. I have to deal with other stuff, where I would rather play inside and have to deal with a sticky board, because I can change my bags. But now I have to deal with wind and everything else. Come on, that's a little much. If you're going to only run a few tournaments for people to qualify for next year, and only having minimal 30 people dropping off, you have to make it fair and consistent.
Yeah. Nobody live streamed that there on Facebook, so I wasn't able to watch that one, because they still won't show it up here in Canada.
I saw some highlights on the Book of Face.
Yeah.
But then also, like, the rules to become a pro next year, a little rough. They're only They're only going to let 30 people in, and if you didn't make it to Fort Lauderdale to play in a national, you have to pay $150 to play down in the Carolinas at the year end. And, oh, by the way, we will put $100 if you qualify towards your $1,000 fee.
Wait, I have a question. So they're going to allow all the pros that were in this year to come back, I'm assuming, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And then they'll have 30 new spots, right?
Well, that's their estimate based on people that might back out.
So we got how many pros?
Here's the thing.
216 already. How many pros do we have now in the ACL?
Yeah, I want to see the.
It's 2 something.
I want to have. I would love to do the math next year on an ROI, return on investment, for every pro that threw up $1,000. I think they should have 2 leagues. I think it should be relegated. I think it should be similar to like the way pro soccer does it, right?
Yeah.
It should be like 2 leagues. It should be like you show up, you're playing in advanced, right? The pro league has 45 guys in it, right? It's all fucking killers, right? And you have to in the top like 12 or something like that can move up. The top 12 have to move down for a certain amount of time until they earn their spot back. Because here's the problem. First of all, I mean, whatever. You want to spend your $1,000 being a pro. I spent $1,000 like on electrical so I can get drunk in my garage. I don't give a shit what you do with your money, right? But in general, like I think it's like you want to have like I think this you could still get money from people to be in this advanced division, right? But you could just make that top level so ultra competitive that like you need to make these people into brand names. You need to make, and some of them are, right? Some of them are. But like you need to have like, in my opinion, you need stars. You need like, you need Matt Guy. You know what I mean? Like if Matt Guy's not in the ACL next year, and this is nothing, and I don't give a shit, like maybe the ACL gets some deal I don't know about, and they get a TV deal, whatever. But if they don't get a TV deal, and Matt Guy is not in the ACL, in my opinion, that would be like Larry Bird playing like a fucking pickup league for like 6 years while the NBA is going on. Like, and I'm not saying the ACO is a pickup league. I'm saying that like, no, it would be like Larry Bird playing.
No, but it's like Tom Brady playing in Tampa.
No, you know what it'd be like? It'd be like Tampa. It'd be like Tom Brady playing in the Arena League. People need to see him. Like the people that are new to the game who don't know who Matt Guy is because he's not on TV, and like he's not gonna, if they're gonna be sponsorship opportunities and stuff, I'm sure he's got good sponsorships. But like the guy is an absolute legend of the game. He's probably the best player out there to ever play it, and I feel like he's probably got a few more prime years left in his life, maybe more. I just would love to see him get the due that he needs to get, like on the national stage, right?
Yeah. So Ben's asking how much you have to pay to be a pro, and he's saying you should qualify to be a pro. You have to do both. You have to qualify, and you have to pay the $1,000.
It's a G node, baby.
Yeah, just a cold G, and then you go fly yourself around. My opinion on the whole thing is, like I said, I would never tell somebody what to do with their money. God knows I've made bad decisions with mine throughout the years. But I don't know that, like, I do wonder, like, for some of the guys who, and this is kind of a weird year because, they're going to just get their entries, I guess their money applied to next year, I believe. Right, Donnie?
Yeah, there is I didn't read the whole thing because I got bored with it really quick.
I couldn't open it, so I couldn't really see what it was.
So my belief is, and I could be wrong, that you could have got your money back, but you would rescind your pro status, or you could get the money applied to next year.
Yes, but if you rescinded your pro status, I believe it was a minimum 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, look, I do think that, like, next year you'll probably have a good crew of guys because people have the money already invested, so they're going to play. Now, again, you don't know because, I mean, a lot of cornhole guys in general, we know we're not all, like, investment bankers. So a lot of people, I'm sure, are, have lost their jobs or lost their gigs. And it's like, are they going to have the extra money to be flying around to fucking cornhole tournaments? That's one thing. But the secondary thing is I think the year after that you're going to see, unless something crazy happens, I think you're going to see a major drop-off in people who want to be pro. I could be wrong. But I think that people will just realize, like, okay, we're seeing the same 20 guys for the most part on these broadcasts. And its reason is because they're the best. And the guys who are in the second tier, they would just have to play their lights out best game to get on one broadcast. You know what I mean? And I just don't know that people will have the stomach to just keep coughing that cash up to fly to places and then end up just eating hot dogs. You know what I mean?
Well, but you look at two of the best players that have been playing for in one league for the last couple of years, which would be what's his name? I just friggin' blanked completely.
Tanner.
No, in the ACL, you're talking Cody Henderson.
Cody Henderson.
And what's his name? What's his partner's name?
Hisner.
Cody,
Hisner.
yeah, Henderson
Yeah.
and Hisner. Like during this whole time, I don't know if they've played any tournaments. I don't know what they've done, but
Yeah, Cody hasn't. Cody's just said, I've seen on Twitter that Cody just started playing. Hisner was, I'm not sure if he went to Delaware or not.
I'll tell you this. Go ahead, Donnie.
But you're talking about two of the best players in the game. Like you're talking.
Well, I watched. It's funny that you mentioned them because as I opened up my Facebook, the Book of Face feed, as I learned from my good friend Don, there was a live game. Meeks, Chris Meeks, who owns local, had just a few guys, and it looked like in his garage, and Cody had a mask on, and he was playing this older guy, and I didn't get his name, but the guy was just dominant. He was just like, that was the joke that Meeks said, that Cody's the 5th best player at the barn, because their guys are so good, and they don't treat him like a celebrity. And then the funny thing was in the comments, like Hisner's like, you don't have to wear a mask. I talked to he's like a COVID truther. Like he's like you don't have to wear a mask. He's like, I talked to a lawyer. It's against our civil rights. And he's like, I think he also said that they. I'm like, I don't want to get his opinions on 9/11. I'm sure he's got a whole like rundown on like what happened there too. But he's like a truther. So I think maybe now that Cody's wearing the mask and Hisner's not, maybe they're going to be fractured. Based on that, but I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Though they don't even know. I get to see him on Meek's feed. That's about it.
Yeah.
Well, because listen, the ultimate game right now would be Cody Hisner with Kamba and King versus the guys, and then Tanner and his partner. I think that would be a great cornhole summit for the ACO ACL.
I thought you almost like crew ACO, but we know that's been done on other shows.
Well,
no,
you know what?
No. Yeah. But I'm not saying talk about it. I'm saying just put it together. Let them play.
Yeah.
Let them play. Throw the bags.
The idea I like that we actually instituted at the Doghouse was we had a slide ride only tournament. It was going to become a series, but obviously COVID kicked our ass. But so you could only play in this tournament with slide rides. There was no other bag you could play with, right?
Yep.
We had a great showing, right? I think we had like 32 teams, Donnie, something like that. And it was not the normal guys who'd been winning a lot who won it. Well, I mean, they win a lot, but they're not like a couple of the teams that you would usually see always in the top 3 got bounced in like 8, 9, something like that. So we were going to do that. We were going to have like, a slide ride open, a Reynolds Pro Advantage open, like a Game Changer open. Like you have to play with this one bag. Everybody's on a level playing field. I would love to see a tournament where either that's the case or the final game is the best is whatever, best of 5, but you have to play with, each game has to be played with a different style of bag. So, your first game, you might pick your Game Changers to get the win. The second game, you pick your Reynolds Pro Advantage and you have limited options. Slick and stick has to be there. Like, I think that would be just so much more fun to watch and so much more interesting to see how they handle that. Bring up Cody and Hisner, they play slick and stick bag.
Yeah, but it's a run what you brung, right? You bring 3 sets of bags to the boards, and the other team gets to pick what you're throwing. And you once they're out, they're out. Once you threw them a game, you can't bring them back.
Ben asked what the benefit of being a pro is the prize money that much better?
It is. The prize money is much better.
If you win.
Even for the top 3 or 4 people, it's better money. Like, so there is a little bit of an advantage, but to Brendan's point, you have to be one of the elite. Yeah. You have to be someone that's going to finish in the top. And that's for any of the leagues, right?
Yeah.
For any league that's out there.
We're only seeing
the higher you finish.
We're only seeing those top 20 of those 200-plus players. So you're basically only seeing, like, the 10%.
No, but even you look at ACO. ACO has the Top Gun and the Corny 40, or what do they call it? Like, I mean, wherever you finish at the top of any league out there, you're making more money. It's just that to get into some of the leagues, it is a little more to play. And this is not ACL bashing. It's just because that's what I know the most about right now is ACL. But it literally comes down to the one question I always want to get back to is, if people want to, the worst statement in the world, grow the game, how do we do it? Right? It's about bringing those backyard players in. Like,
Yep.
you're not going to bring them in with $1,000 buy-in, or them getting their teeth kicked in a tournament because somebody played down, or somebody sandbagged it. Right now, it is an 80-20 proposition. 80% of all the players in this game are backyard players.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do we get them to play? How do we bring them along, right? It's not a 30-spot, $30 raffle. It's not charging $95 for a set of bags. It's none of that. And I don't have the full answer, but the biggest answer is, like, people just have to be nice and inviting. Like,
Yeah.
It's the biggest problem, not just in cornhole, but with the world today. People just aren't nice to each other. Let's just be nice.
I agree. I will say, by the way, getting off of what we were just talking about on a little bit something different. I have liquidated a monstrous amount of my bags. So basically what happened was, when I did cleaning the garage out, the wife came home early and saw a picnic table full of, like, just plethora of bags. So I've actually been giving them to people. And so for all you fucking vultures out there who are like, whatever, charging like $750 for whatever kind of bag you have, I've been either giving them to people or selling them at cost. So, for example, I sold Jimmy Sear, our buddy who's a Doghouse guy. I sent him a brand new set of Widows. Oh, look at those kill shots.
Yeah.
Sent him a brand new set of Widows. I sold them to him for $40 for whatever I paid for them. I think I paid $65. I sold them to him for that. Those are nice. I like the high stakes. But people have been asking me, like, oh, what kind of bag should I get? I'm like, you should just come to my house and I'll just give you 8 bags. And that's what I've been doing. So what I have now, this is what I'm keeping. Any bags that have been given to me specifically, obviously for the show or whatever, I'm not giving away. But I've given away pretty much everything except for anything to do with Maddie King. My Jersey guy game changers from the St. Jude's, because those have a special place in my heart, even though I'm not a game changer guy. I'm keeping most of my Reynolds Pro Advantage because I'm a Reynolds guy, and I'm keeping my Kill Shot 357s because that's the bag I'm throwing almost all the time. And I have the high stakes still too, the Spade series. So I'm keeping those. And I have the slide rights, and honestly, like, I'm almost done. Like, I'm almost cleaned out. It feels like I feel like it's almost like, must be like what it feels like when, like, you go to, like, Sex Anonymous and, like, then you haven't had sex in like a month or something like that. Like, you're like, oh, I'm clean. I feel clean. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody's in Sex Addicts Anonymous out there. If you are, let me know if that's how you feel. But yeah, I feel like I just, it was once I put all the bags out in front of myself, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing with all these bags? Like, who am I kidding? Like, there's bags in here I've thrown once down and back. Yeah. They should be played by. So what I've been doing specifically, I've not been giving them mostly to people like us who are complete addicts. I'm not giving them to, like, McCracken because he has more bags than anybody. I've been giving them to people. Oh, yeah.
His question kind of comes up on Friday, yeah.
Yeah. I've been giving them to friends of mine that are starting to play, right, and that have bought a set of boards, and maybe they have, like, just a set of crappy, like, corn bags or whatever. I've been like, try these out, just to give them, like, a little to put bags in somebody new's hand, like you said, Donnie, grow the game, baby. So I've been in my neighbor. I left a set there so you get them for parties. And I'll tell you what bag. Speaking of this, I don't kind of go on a little weird tangent here, but you know what I was throwing the other day? And this bag, I don't think they make them anymore. Donnie, I know you're a fan. McCracken's a big fan. And I brought these over to give to my neighbor, and my neighbor's buddy wanted to play me. And so I played them, and I threw throwing bags, the original throwing bags, the ones with the real sticky side.
The Everglides.
The Everglides. And I'll tell you what, I actually am regretting giving them away, and I'm going to be in the market for a set of those bags.
I have an extra set of orange. That
is what I wanted to hear, Donnie. See, let's be nice to each other. But I threw them. They were great, man. Super sticky, great block bag.
Well, but I bought.
I did see someone online looking for some Jekyll and slide bags.
Which ones?
Oh,
I have two sets. I have 2 sets of 2.0s.
I think he wanted the 1.0.
I can't give my.
Hey,
1.0.
so wait, I want to add a little something into the chat because Tom Bent, I think it's Tom Bent.
Yeah.
Tom said that they sound as bad as we are about guitar gear, right? So now obviously it's known that I play guitar, and I have a buddy who lives down the street from me. I grew up with this kid. He's actually, anytime you see me, if I'm ever on Facebook playing with somebody else, usually that's him. His GAS guitar acquisition syndrome is literally, I think he could live in a $2 million house if he didn't buy what he buys. He owns. When I sold my last electric, because I play mostly acoustic, he's like, why would you ever sell that? I'm like, dude, you have fucking 30 unbelievable guitars and like vintage amps and pedals. If I ever need anything, I just go down to your house, like the library, just check something out for a couple weeks, and then bring it back. So the guitar acquisition syndrome, honestly, like that's what when people you would say to me, what does your wife say when you buy all these bags? I'm like, dude, I used to buy fucking guitars. Like guitars are not like like $40. You know what I mean? Like every time you buy a guitar, like, you know, you're either tossing it on the credit card or you're getting yelled at. So I have to say that I feel their pain. I have been in the guitar world, and it is not cheap at all.
So B, to your point about like bags giving them away and everything else like that, my nephews are now starting to play.
Nice.
And, you know, so my nephew called me the other day and said, what bag should I buy? I'm like, why are you going to buy bags?
Yeah.
He's like, what do you mean?
Talking
I was
to...
like, have you seen my trunk? Like, that I hide from your aunt? Like, listen, I can help you out. So
yes.
I donated 2 sets of blue and red Doghouse slide rides to my nephews.
Donnie, you are a fucking gentleman and a scholar, if I do say so myself.
Listen, they want to start playing. The only problem I have with my nephews is they play on these crappy boards that have this ugly big B on them. I don't forget what that stands for. Bruins.
Bruins.
I think, right? Yeah. Shitty boards.
Yeah, I have to say that, by the way, I want to give a quick shout out here to my man Scotty Moe's son, Lane. This kid, I'm telling you right now, we stopped by his house the other day, me and Donnie, and threw some bags, and I threw 5 games against his son, how old is Lane? 9?
No,
or 8?
Like 7.
Right? Doug, when I tell you this kid, he has to throw his whole body into the bag, you know what I mean? Because he's small, you know? He has the best bag flight of anybody there, best rotation. And when he can start to control his body, like he threw a 4-bagger, like he can throw a 4-bagger. So
was he your partner, Donnie? When
Yeah,
you guys were playing, I believe you were playing as, was that Bieber on the other end that he was throwing against?
Yeah, that shitty guy Bieber, yeah.
Yeah.
Biebs.
Yeah. But I mean, the way he was throwing is like, you know, teach me how to throw like.
No, but
dude,
L Dog can throw.
L Dog.
He was right around the hole almost all the time.
He also, by the way, I think much to his old man's chagrin, I see him in a Doghouse hat more than I see him in his Ipswich Bay hat. So I talked to McCracken. We're getting him one of the special edition tropical Hawaiians out to him. So L Dog can be rocking that. But it is good to see, like, it's nice to see that, you know, a kid like that playing and really wanting to play, you know, and like, when we talk about growing the game, whatever, like, you know, I know that we joke about that saying a lot. Like, I think the game grows on itself. What I mean by that is, like, you know, you help people become interested because, like, obviously you like it, right? Yep. But, like, you know, somebody said to me, so I'm playing lane, right? We're playing one-on-one. And, I mean, like, I would start heating up, and I think I beat him. I skunked him once maybe, and then he gave me a couple good games. But somebody was like, oh, you're just throwing airmails like you're throwing your regular game. I'm like, dude, there's no fucking mercy in this dojo. Like, you don't want this kid. Like, don't. So that begs a question, right? So Lane, I know, like, he wants your full game. Like, that little kid wants your best game, and he wants to play the best people he can play. What I struggle with sometimes is, like, and it depends on the person, I guess, but, like, you're playing another whatever person at a random party, right? And it's so clear that, like, you're just dominant over this person, right? Or these people. do you slow your game down a little bit? Do you work on other things while you're doing it? Because what I'll tend to do is I'll give them a little taste of like the full Monty, and then I'll kind of dial it back a little bit, and I'll just start working on like a block or something like that. Like, or you don't want to be a dick, you know what I mean? Even though I am, but you want to try to be. But like at the same time, I think you could. The point is that like when you talk about like growing the game grows itself. What I mean by that is like you either get it and you just like you're hooked, right? You can't. You're like, I gotta fucking be able to beat that motherfucker the next time. Like I gotta get my boards, I gotta get my shit in the air, and that's not something you're gonna teach somebody to do. They either want to do it or they don't. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something we had a tournament here, and there was only 8 teams showing up. It wasn't one of our sanctioned tournaments. It was just something someone else put on. We were helping them do it, and we had 4 of our advanced teams show up. And there was 4 teams of people who had never played. Well, actually, one team played before. They came out to one of our league nights, got absolutely obliterated all of their games, and we've never seen them again. So this is now like a year later. They've come out, and they're playing against a couple of our guys. We know that these guys are playing with their wrong hands, right? So I didn't say anything. I didn't want to make a big deal of it, but we had a couple of the guys that are making comments, right? And these other people, after losing big, these guys using their wrong hands, basically just left. They still had other games to play, but because they figured like they're being made fun of, they were just gone.
You don't want to do that. Yeah.
So now we're never seeing those people again playing. But they were having fun up until then.
But it's also about how you go about it at the same time too, right?
Yeah.
Like you just can't be like, I know in the past, if there's somebody I know I can beat, I've tried different shots, but I never did it at the like to hurt the other person. Like I've tried to push when I should have done something else, or I threw an airmail when I shouldn't have, right? But I never did it to make that other person feel smaller, right? I did it I knew we were up to work on a little more of my shots. And I think it's all about how you're going about it, but it's also about how you reach that hand out to that other person, right? So when they approach the other person about they maybe were thrown with the wrong hand or whatever it was, how did they come across? How did they say it? Because it can be very belittling if someone's like thought they were like king in the backyard. We've all been there.
Yep.
We've all like had the world championship belt on our back in our backyard, and then we all showed up at a tournament one day and got our dick ripped in the mud. Right?
I'm gonna tell you. I'll tell you right now. I got hooked on it. We started playing in my buddy's backyard. It's actually my brother-in-law's brother-in-law. His brother is from North Carolina. Follow that. And had a set, and like I remember I threw a 4-bagger. I'm like, I'm fucking legend at this game. And I dragged my brother-in-law Nate to third Ave, Mike Riley, shout out Boston Cornhole. And we got waxed by this kid, Dan Madden, who's a good buddy of mine now, mine and Donnie's, and Jimmy Nacella. And Jimmy Nacella, 2 legends. But I remember like sitting with him, and like there was like a little ledge when they would throw, we'd sit down, and he was such a great guy. And I was like, it only enhanced my experience. Do you know what I mean? That I'm like, we got beat. I knew I had work to do, but like I was like, I could hang out with this kid, and you know, little do you know, 4 years later, he's in my garage, fucking dropping off a drill for me last week. Like, so, you know, I think that the thing that makes you keep coming back, and I also think that like, you know, it's okay to not be like the dominant player. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to be like, I need to do work, and it's going to take me a while, and it doesn't happen overnight. It's just like playing guitar. Playing guitar is a lot like that. Like somebody was asking me last night at this party, you're was like basically kind of singing my praises a little bit, and I'm like, I blew at guitar and singing for like 5 years. It took me like literally just holding up my room and just working on my shit, you know. So I think that's important to tell people, because it's not all like simple for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, I've seen it with even guys we play with, like McCracken. You know, he started out with us as like, you know, probably 7th, 8th best guy in the room, maybe, you know, and within like 6 months, 8 months, you know, he's in the top 3. And I couldn't beat him. I couldn't win a game against him for like 4 or 5 months. I literally want to just hang myself because he drives me fucking nuts. and he knows it. But like I want to play the best. I want to play Pat. I want to play, if I can, I want to play anybody who I think is really good, and I want to learn from them and get stuff from them. So I think that in the growing the game portion of what we talk about, it's important to put that into, the idea that the person that you're playing with has to have a positive experience on that night. Like you said, Doug, I mean, I'm not going to name any names. I know he doesn't listen to the show, but like there's a guy we play with, a couple guys specifically, but who are just way too competitive. They're fucking can be pains in the ass. And they've turned people off to playing with us. Now we don't care because we're like, you're a fucking dick, like we have thick skin, but you want people. I will say that's one thing about McCracken that he is unbelievable at. Like, trust me, there are many people who want to throw Pat through a fucking wall. But like I've never seen somebody who a new person will come into the room and he'll stand with them and work with them and be like, here's some ideas I have for you. And like really try to help them out and try to get their game. Like he always says to me, like, cause I think his default actually would be to be upset that he's got a partner that's just how his personality is competitive. So what he did was he kind of worked the way he thought. And the way he does it is he's like, if he knows he has a partner that he's not probably going to win with, right? Like, cause a new person or newer to the game, he'll just work on getting the best he can out of that person and helping them build themselves up. And, we all have our shortcomings, but like that's one of the things about Pat McCracken that like makes me like love the kid. Like he will really, go out of his way to make somebody feel like he's investing some time and helping him out. I think that's like to Donnie's point, to make an unbelievably long fucking winded thing short. Just be nice to people and help them out. That's really what people are looking for.
Well, listen, I played an entire day with Pat, and it was literally like an EKG. Okay, there were moments that I loved him, and there were moments I didn't like him. And the moments I didn't like him is when he was correcting my throw, but everything he told me was absolutely true. Right, the way I threw my bag, the way I was stepping or moving or shifting my body, and it worked. And you know what? As much as I didn't like him at some points during that day, as I kind of reflected on it, it helped me. But those are the people that are going to help you move forward, right? They're not just going to tell you, hey, great bag. Like, my best thing ever is when someone throws like a short bag or one up the side, I'm like, oh, great block. Right? But just to mess up the other team, just as a joke. But, like, if I threw that bag with Pat, he would tell me what happened. Like, you released it 2 inches too low. And, like, he's literally doing the math in his head while he's watching and critiquing it. And, like, that's what we need more of. But we also need people on the other side to be a little more accepting at the same time, right?
Yeah.
To be able to make it happen. But the people, because I know who Brennan's talking about. I've played with them. Some of them might have kicked a bag or two of mine. But, but it's not everybody's on your level. You may be 2 or 3 steps ahead of that person.
Yep.
Help them out. Because even if they don't become a pro or advanced players, they're still progressing and keeping the game moving forward.
Yeah. By the way, we've talked about that a bunch of times on your Zoom chats. It's just that those guys that are just, they're in their own heads and they're just here because they want to be the best and they want to show everybody that they are the best. But like, I love when Bobby Sperry comes out. Because everybody is like, oh, I got to play against this pro guy. He doesn't care. He is just, all he does is he focuses on that person he's playing against, and he'll give them tips on what to do, help out their throw while they're playing. Right?
Listen,
and then
the one thing I'm going to tell you right now, I will tell you this right now. I'm not the best cornhole player in the world, but I'm the greatest goddamn human in the world right now. I'm going to put that out. I'm just going to put that
out. By the
way,
way, speaking of McCracken, who I think, like, since he brought this by, we've been in at least one fight over the telephone with each other. Check this out. This is pretty sweet. You got this made for me. This is my bar.
That is
pretty
sexy.
Beautiful, right? Yeah.
That is.
So, I mean, look, here's the thing. I do like one thing I do say about, like, we go back to the talking about, clubs and the guys you play with and everything. Like Pat says it, and I really. I was so thirsty for like that type of like companionship with a group of. It's no different. It's like I always say, it's like a shitty version of the Masons where everybody gets fucked up all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. It's just guys who want to hang out together and throw bags and like be in like a fake gang almost. You know what I mean? We're like it's like we don't have the sweet motorcycle like Donnie, but we're in like a cornhole gang. Like we're like rather than like we got the fucking shirts and it's ridiculous and I get it. It looks so dumb. You know what I mean? Like if you're an outsider and you see me walking around in my cornhole shirt, you're like, what a fucking loser. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Brandon,
talking about outsiders, we now have Cook in the chat here as well too.
When they see you in your driveway talking to an iPhone with your jersey on.
Donnie, as I've said many times, if I listened to what people thought, I never would have done anything.
If I listened to all the people drinking Haterade, I wouldn't be here today. Because guess what? I got one thing for them.
Dude, I totally agree. But to that point, like about, it is that level of like there are those people that like, you're like you need to have them around that are so intense. Pat, I think Donnie and I are intense, just in a different way, and channel a different way. But I mean,
I love intense people. I just don't like the trolls. Like people just want to get a rise. Trolls are horrible. But listen, if someone's gonna like get under my skin to make me be better, I'm okay with that as long as they're doing it in the right way. And that's the great part of what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, let's
by the way, just real quick, just a little shout out because we are coming back on the air next week. Me and Donnie, we're returning. Donnie, we need that. We need that guy who does like those guys who do like the fake videos on Barstool where it's like the head's on a different body. Like it's like a scene for something. We need to do like the Gronk and Brady when they're like, guess who's back? Like we need that. But shout out to our sponsors, specifically one that is tuned in right now, Mr. Chris Cook, the Jersey guy, Bruiser Reviews, absolute legend. His America bags that he came out with today.
Wait, America bags in America shirt?
I'm going to tell you right now that it is phenomenal. Those bags are amazing. My son is like really into art. He actually got like best artist in his school, and he like goes on the Jersey Guy website and he goes bananas. He's like he doesn't say fuck because he knows he gets his ass kicked, but he's like the America one. He's like that is unbelievable. Like so if you're listening to this and you have not listened to and you have not checked out the America stuff, it's on the Dogcast page. We posted it there. Yeah, I love the fact, by the way, to go back to our earlier point, those are straight slick stick bag because that's Cook is old school. He likes to throw that slick stick. And I think like the best, I don't know. It's like, let's go back to the purity of the game. You know what I mean? Let's go back to Cooperstown, baby.
Brendan, there's a reason on this YouTube channel I'm only from the neck up.
Hey, because you are.
Now I told Donnie about it before. We're like an hour and 8 minutes in, and Brendan, you have not said anything about my shirt.
Well, you know what? Listen, I'll just say that I got a cease and desist from Johnsonville a couple weeks ago, and I also got one from Jimmy Dean. They want me to stop talking about their product. They don't believe I'm a good representative. I can just tell you this. The Dean is in full effect. I'm still crushing the Dean. I have actually looked at, like, it's funny, this vacation thing. I got a couple messages, people being like, fucking no garage videos, really. I think I've done like one or two, right, Donnie? Maybe. Listen, I'm giving the people a little bit of a rest because when we come back, we're coming back full fucking throttle. No holds barred, no prisoners. If we don't like what you are doing, you can fuck off unless you're a client and then or a sponsor. But we like what they do. We would not work with anybody that we don't like at all. And to be honest with you, every sponsor that we work with, like we're friends with those guys. Like we don't like there's nobody that we're sponsored by other than Jimmy Dean, who's not really a sponsor, but I feel like
or Miller Lite.
Miller Lite sales. It's much like Portnoy with his high noons. You know what I mean? Like he's now they're moving those things left and right. I think I personally can be held responsible for many sales of Miller Lite. But yeah, I think that, like I said, so if you haven't checked out the America bags, not only are they unbelievable, if you're throwing those, so we have a bunch of shirts on order right now, me and Donnie and Doghouse guys. One, I have a regular Doghouse jersey that should be here in the next week. New Doghouse, because I gave away my OG one to Nick Clausen as part of the Battle of the Big Mouths. And we have some special jerseys coming, me and Donnie, and we're going to be doing some cool videos and some cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to getting back on the airwaves, Donnie. How about you?
Listen, I am looking forward to not just getting back on the airwaves, but controlling the airwaves.
Controlling the narrative, much like we're like the global. Donnie and I are like the global elite. Like we're like things are going. We're like Smoking Man, X-Files. Shit behind the scenes happening. Yeah, we're pulling the fucking
Listen, what's about to happen in a week is a global revolution.
And you know what?
Are coming back bigger, badder than ever because we're rested. We're rested.
We are.
We fueled up with high octane IPAs.
Yes, and I'm starting to get a nice buzz right now, which feels unbelievable.
Well, once you guys come back, I'm happy to be number 2. Third place will be up for grabs.
You know what? Honestly, to be honest with you, like I enjoy. I listen to every episode of Big Aspen. I enjoy, and I love Sean and Dane. Those guys are awesome. I haven't listened to the other podcasts. I did watch one of Rob Chismark's. Rob's a great guy. I got to hang with him one night at like 4 a.m. on a Zoom call. He's an awesome guy. But I got to say that I'm looking forward to getting back on and talking about some stuff and kind of re-engaging with the folks. And, look, I mean, there hasn't been – and here's the last thing on the whole, whether it's Down and Back with Doug or it's Dogcast or it's the Asp guys, I mean, look, I know there's the trolls out there, like Donnie said, and they're trolling the Asp guys going, why don't you just fucking talk about Cornhole anymore? Dude, honestly, do me a favor. Take whatever fucking iPhone you're listening to the show on and shove it up your ass. I do not don't listen. Don't ever listen again. I don't care. I'm not doing it. I don't know. Not that many people really listen anyway. So, it's done for mine and Donnie's enjoyment, really, because we like to hear ourselves talk and make fun of each other and people. But for all the people that are complaining, this is the last thing. All the people that are complaining about anything, big ass, if it's an ACL broadcast, anything, just don't listen. Just do something else. It's okay to be critical, but we're not. Everybody who's doing this is not making any money doing it. They're not doing it for fucking money. You know what I mean? When it just
Brent,
unbelievable. Ben Combs.
I love that Ben had to put the who in there, but no, he's the same thing. Listen. It's for me the Boston mentality. I can talk shit about Corn Doug. I can talk shit about the Ass Boys. I can talk shit about Bruce Reviews. I can talk shit about CCC. Anybody else does it, it's a problem.
Yeah,
it's a problem. Because guess what? We're all brothers. And the thing with it is we have the rivalry it is what it is. We all want to be the best, but if someone beats us, it's okay because we have that camaraderie and that partnership. But the second anybody else come between it, that's a problem.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, you got to have every great hero needs a villain. You know what I mean? Whether we're the villain for the Cleveland crowd or whether the Asp guys are the villains for somebody else. I mean, me and Donnie, the drinkers, the talkers. Those guys can play probably a little better than us, but doubtful. I think actually, as I've stated many times, I've dominated them lately in Ghost Cornhole. So
I will tell you, the next time we play them live, it's done.
We will.
Dunsky.
We will.
Dunsky.
Well,
done.
It'll be
done.
It'll be done. Well, and I have to say, talk about olive branches. Talk about what really goes on behind the scenes. Other than me sending letter bombs to their houses, but Dane and I think are going to partner up down at the Make a Wish.
You're not winning. The team has already won.
I know it's you and Screech'em.
Me and Screech'em.
I'm going to get so drunk. I'm gonna get so fucking drunk. Dane's gonna hate me. He's gonna be like, "Fuck, dude, what are you doing?" Actually, Dane knows. Okay, I will say this. And I said this before on the video. Dane can drink fucking beers, and if you look at that kid, he's a lot like they're both big boys, but Dane's taller than Dane's like got to be like 6'1", 6'2", right?
Dude, Dane is built like a fire hydrant.
Yeah, he's like a big
stacked. He's stacked.
He's a fucking brick shithouse, and I've seen him. I've thrown down with this man, and this man can drink. So, look at this. Fucking Bruin Reviews wants the red hat. Chris Cook, this has been worn approximately for how long have we been on the show? This has been on my head for an hour and 15 minutes. This goes in the mail to you tomorrow. How do you like that? That's what's happening.
Brendan, on my way to Connecticut, I'm picking you up. Tell Maggie you'll be safe because I'm driving.
Am I in the sidecar?
Well, you could either be in the sidecar or in the back watching DVDs in the pilot.
Oh no, I was thinking of I was thinking maybe we're on the bike and
we can do either or. You can ride bitch or you can be in the back seat.
Brendan's gonna be in the sidecar. I want the leather kind of just partially helmet with the goggles, and I want a picture of it.
So here's Donnie and I haven't even really talked about this. We did talk about it a little bit, but like. When we get back next week, I've made a new rule, Donnie, right? We're not going to, we're going to have guests on, right? And, we're going to want to get guests and people that we haven't heard from, people we haven't talked to, and we're going to want to do that. But, if we can't track somebody down that week, assuming me and Donnie, and we'll just do the show. You know what I mean? We don't need a guest every week. I don't think, to Sean Ask's point, I'm sure you know this, Doug, because it happened this last week with us. It's coordinating people and getting people – on and working around schedules and stuff is a lot of work. And, we all have real jobs,
yep.
At least I have one for now. And so does Donnie. So, sometimes it's just going to be me and Donnie talking bullshit, just shitting on people.
Well, exactly. I had one of those shows the other week and I didn't get a chance to get one in Friday because some other stuff came up. So it was like, you know what? It's just, it happens.
Yeah, and also I think it's funny because you do go on this model of okay, we need a show a week, right?
Yep.
But who says that? I mean, whatever. You take this week off, whatever. We're taking 4 weeks off. Me and Donnie are we have a European vacation schedule. We get 8 weeks plus you can build up days and then you can take a year off sabbatical. We're like professors at a college. Really shitty college though, where nobody learns anything.
Brendan.
Yeah.
In 3 years, we're doing the world tour.
Ooh.
We're going to bring Olympics. We're going to bring the Olympics back to the U.S. We're bringing it. So here's what's going to happen, people. We are now announcing our candidacy for Cornhole ambassadors to the UN.
I love it. Is that a thing? That's a thing now.
It's a thing now. Ahern McPhee. Cornhole ambassadors. We're bringing this thing home.
Yeah, Donnie, I love the idea. I'm ready to go. I'm RTG. I can promise the people one thing next week. I have a song that I had written or I had made up before quarantine. That was actually before the Ass Brothers song that I sang before we played them. And I'm just going to say that I really, really enjoy. I can't wait to play this song. Only Jeff Bashand and Donnie have heard this version of the famous Guns N' Roses song that I'm going to play. But let's just say it's going to be quite an experience for all the people out there.
Yeah.
So, Doug, we're going to have you on our show soon.
I would love to be on your show.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I kind of laugh because it's almost. The Doghouse already all knows about me just from being on the Zoom chat. And I know on a couple of my garage videos, I'm just sitting in my garage, I get finally a garage video because they've been missing your videos. That's always just Doghouse guys that are making the comments.
It feels like we're going to have, I'm going to tease it now. I feel like there's going to be a garage video on Sunday for Father's Day. So I'm going to make that happen. And I might be drinking Corona's favorite drink.
I think there might be a Doghouse satellite cornhole happening in Canada.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I think Doug might. Doug might be joining Doghouse.
I love it. He's a dog. Yeah, dude. Once you don't you just know. You look at somebody, you meet him, and you're like, "That's a Doghouse guy," and you just take him. You take him in. It's like we like taking strays. It's like, look at that guy. He loves to. Yeah, he loves to drink beers. He's had a pretty mediocre game. Like, seems like us, you know. So
I'm not even
kind of
sure
what we do.
Is I'm up to that level.
That's all right. Where were we?
Listen,
but
you just bring down a case of Molson Triple X, and you'll be good.
Ooh. Or Alexander Keats. There you go.
I can do that.
Um,
Well, we're coming an hour 20. I want to thank you guys for coming on, for doing this here, because I want to get you guys on before you came back, because I was gunning for you guys for winning that Battle of Big Mouth. But,
well, you know what? We were winners on the day. Donnie and I drank 1,000 beers. Dane drank more, but he paid the price later at a family party where he couldn't see. But Donnie and I, we had a great time. Pat was with us. McCracken was with us the whole day. And you know what? Just to tease the episode, and Donnie, I think I might have mentioned this to you, but my idea for next week for the first show back is we're going to talk a little bit about charity in cornhole, because I don't think that has actually been discussed on any podcast. Really, we've touched on it a little bit, but it's such a huge aspect of the game, and especially where we are. There's a very close friend of the programs, Bridget, who's running a contest right now, and you know her, Doug. So you've been on a Zoom with her for her mom and raising some money for that. And there's like they just when I think everybody knows it, but charity's kind of like, it's a weird selfish thing. It's like you do it because it feels good, so you really do it to make yourself feel good, but at the same time somebody else benefits. It's like it's kind of like the only thing that a human can do that like really scratches both backs. So we're going to talk about that, and I think we're going to have a couple different maybe guests on that show. It's going to be like a little special. By the way, you should have called the show the McCracken Snuffleupagus, because he is kind of like Snuffleupagus. Like nobody knows if he's real, nobody sees him. Like is McCracken like me, but like I'm like just sending you the bags under this name Pat McCracken,
But also, Brendan, we will talk about my new latest hobby on that show.
Oh,
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know.
As we're getting ready to leave, talk about Snuffleupagus. He has decided to show up as we're getting ready to leave.
Whoa, this is Sean Aspinall. Jesus Christ. Look at this. This is like, dude, by the way, that is the biggest Axel move ever. Like to show up like as the concert's over. He's like coming on stage. By the way, can I ask you a question? Now that you have got the limited edition, you have a Hawaiian version of the Doghouse hat, right?
I do. Yes, I do.
I need to purchase one of the new Asp hats.
Which one do you want?
Whatever one that is going to look as sweet as the one you have on your head right now. So anyone like that, I'll take.
I have one more of these. I will send it your way.
What's on his head?
That's awesome. It's the big ass. By the way,
I'm actually out here throwing. I just got escaped.
Work on that game. Nice, nice.
And in the chat here, Ben has put the
flashlight user.
Wait, what's that?
Oh, Ben
Tom
Tom.
Benson.
Who is Ben Tom?
Yeah,
he's a guy from Philly.
Oh.
He's saying that Donnie's new hobby is pro flashlight user.
There you go.
Hey, you know what? Don't hate, bro.
Someone's got to do it.
Somebody's got to get Donnie off. Like with the appetite this man has for sex. I mean, his wife can only do so much. Twice a day is all she can handle.
What I missed tonight?
You missed a lot. You did miss us profess our absolute undying love for you guys, Sean. So you will be glad to hear that. So
hey, my wife wants me to go away.
Donnie, your jokes are much like my Uncle Jack's. They are repetitive. They come often. And you hear the same ones all the time.
Donnie's the king of the pause.
Yes, he's an unbelievable timing. He's like a like a Vince Vaughn, but not as good looking and has no money. Like that's the only difference.
Yeah.
You know?
I've got $7.
His body's not as good. But everything else
Yeah. He does have a drinking problem like Vince Vaughn though too. So that's in there. So hey, Sean, real quick, do we have a couple more minutes here, Doug?
Yep.
Okay. So have you been playing the blind draws? What's the scene like? Talk to us.
Yeah, I've not.
Nobody wants to hear from you.
Listen, I would love to be going. Dane has. He's been,
right?
Doing pretty well. Yeah, the worst he's done so far is third.
Nice.
So he's definitely been
throwing
cleaning
some
up
gas.
a little bit. Yeah, he's doing pretty well. They
awesome.
start too early. By the time my daughter gets to bed and everything, I just can't get out there.
Story of my life, buddy. Story of my life.
Hence why I'm out here in my sidewalk throwing. Right
I like
now.
it. So Dane's at 1 tonight, right?
Yeah, Dana's at 1 tonight.
By the way, here's a little factoid that I found out from Sean. I don't know if this is supposed to be said, but whatever.
He's not here, so that's fine.
Dane's wife's family is super rich, right? That's a fact.
Fact.
Just saying, it is a fact. I've been told this. Well, she's got way more money than us. Let's just put it that way, right?
So yeah,
which by the way, isn't saying much.
When he talks about going to the cottage, right? Like up in Lake Chautauqua, it's a 12-bedroom cottage.
So here's the thing that I will tell all the young children out there, all the men that listen to the show, because it's pretty much like being into cornhole is like being into heavy metal. It's just dudes, like mostly, and there are some beautiful girls though too. But here's the thing. When you are starting to court a woman and starting to think, okay, I might want to marry this person, right? Take stock. If they have got a vacation house, that is a major plus. And you might overlook some bad things that happen with them because you want to go to their fucking sick-ass house. And when their parents die, you want to get their sick-ass money. Like, I mean,
exactly.
Not for nothing. Like, it's a selling point. I overlooked it. I do not have any of these benefits in my relationship. In fact, I get yelled at for spending any of my own money, which is fucked because I make it. But I'll just tell you this.
And you want the youngest in the family because then when the parents start getting sick and stuff, it's not on them.
Yeah, it's by the way, unbelievable, well thought out point that I had not thought of, that you have thought of, apparently. But yes, so to that point, like, I don't know, like I'm not, dude, I look at people that I know and they're like, oh, we're going up to my wife's place, their parents' place. I'm like, that's going to be your place. And that fucking makes me mad. Like, you never had to do shit, and now you're going to have a sick fucking place, and I'm going to be in my garage for the rest of my life, which is not the worst thing.
It's sweet. It's a sweet thing, though. I mean,
it is pretty sweet. But, like, like my garage versus, like, a 12-bedroom cottage on, like, fucking Lake Chippewa, whatever you just said it was. Whatever it was, yeah.
Chautauqua.
Chautauqua, yeah. We bathed in the fine waters of Lake Chautauqua. I just would like to say that if you are a cornhole player, first of all, if you're a cornhole player, you probably don't know any chicks that are rich. That's just the bottom line. But if you do run into one, you should snag her. I don't even care if she looks like me or Sean Asp. You should probably marry her immediately because then you will be able to play cornhole in peace the rest of your life. Although the other double side to that is sometimes you can marry a rich broad. I have a friend who did this, and then they fucking control your shit because they're like, listen, you're on my fucking dime, motherfucker. Like, go out and do this, go out and do that. And I don't play that game. I do not like being told what to do. I don't know if that's been obvious. Really? I actually said I had a slight argument with my wife recently, trying to talk really quietly in here. And I said to her, I'm like, she told me like something I can't do. She's like, you can't do that. I'm like, you can never tell me that. That's like my nuclear button. Do not tell me I can't do something. Like my mother's not here. Like, don't tell me, oh, you can't do that. Like, what do you mean? I can do whatever I want. I can do anything in the world. This is America.
But wait a minute. You do realize this is on the internet, right? She can hear this.
Prank call her. Dude, the chances of her listening to Down and Back with Corn Doug with me and Donnie and Sean on it is like, and getting to 1 hour and 29 minutes in, is like, I get a better chance of reading War and Peace tonight. Like, nice.
She loves me.
High stakes. She does love Donnie. She loves Donnie.
Fucking love these bags, man.
Those bags are really nice. I just broke a set of pink ones in, and I turned my buddy Chris Smalley onto those and just gave him my other set of my half set of black high stakes, and he is really enjoying them.
Yeah. They're
He's
great
not
bags.
that good.
By the way,
you
Tom
talking about
Bent
Chris?
said, my best friend's little brother dated the heir of the Playtex fortune. He left her after a while because of just what I said, because she controlled his shit. That's true. Ben Combs, if you send this YouTube link to my wife, you're gonna have my Maximal will be pulling up to your door in approximately whatever that is, like 47 hours. And I'll have Donnie with me with an axe.
Listen, just cut his ponytail.
Oh, I do have one specific thing that I have to tell, because I think if you listen to the Dogcast, you'll find this funny. And Donnie, I have not told you this yet. So it's well known that I spent a little bit of money on a tactical axe at the beginning of COVID when I was super drunk.
Awesome.
And I bought this like axe that you can live in the woods with. Apparently, I could never, obviously, whatever. But anyways, I have it. It's at the garage somewhere. And I was pretty drunk on Friday night. And I was showing it to somebody, and I literally like cut my fucking hand. Look at this. I cut my hand like wide open.
What the hell did you do? You
My wife's like, you bought an axe, like for like the apocalypse, and then you cut your own hand open with it. She's like, you fucking idiot. Like, I'm like, that's factual. And it did come on the back of like 12 double IPAs. Don't drink an axe. Don't drink a tactical axe. Is what I'm saying, you know? Don't do that.
Not everyone can handle
that. Not everybody can handle the tactical axe. So let me ask you a quick question, Sean, because this was going back to something we talked about earlier. But are you how big have the blind draws been? Like, how many people have been going to those?
7.
I mean, Wednesday nights probably. I think they're getting 30 plus teams.
Oh wow, that's pretty strong.
It's pretty
strong.
Yeah,
Quite strong.
Nice. Yeah, I think regionals were up here. I think they capped it at 64 total teams, 32 teams in advanced, and then 32 teams in like intermediate. So,
Did you have to pay $150 to play in those?
No, not that. And there were cash prizes.
Nice,
So.
nice. And they were for Dane. Must be raking in the money. Not that he needs it. Like up at Lake Chittaclacla, like fucking like a fucking king.
Seriously.
Like
seriously.
Jesus
no,
Christ.
Dane's got that. See, Dane's married, but he still lives like he's not married.
Yeah, he plays like Call of Duty all day and like just fucking hangs out.
Yeah, he's like, well, I'm like, what does Amy do like when you leave? And he's like, well, I told her to go get a hobby. He's like, I told her, I got blind draws on Wednesdays, every other Friday I want to do it. He wants to start running tournaments and stuff. So,
well, good news. He better not plan on. And I know this is like I told him that sometimes being an uncle is better than being a dad. If he stays just married, no kids, then that's all possible, right?
Yep.
And if he does decide to have children, his life is fucking over, and that's going to be fucking horrible. And
the only reason I get through life right now is because of your little pep talks about once every other week where you call me, we're like, your life's not over. It's just
not over.
Like the next 10 years.
It's just over
for the next 10 years.
These are the years you're just grinding through it. You're just getting to the next day. You're changing shitty diapers. Yeah. Your day is like, okay, I'm getting to the next day, and then one day I will fight with my wife about having a garage bar, and that will be like that's as good as it gets after that, and you'll have
Sean,
whatever.
Sean,
seriously,
I wish I was still a dink. Dual income, no kids.
Woo.
Oh, fuck, man.
Cool.
Oh, by the way,
my daughter was being a savage last night, and we're just trying to get her to go to bed, and then like we finally get her to go down. And I look at my wife. I'm like, we're at another one. Like, what were we thinking? Like, why did we ever think like this was a good idea,
dude?
So
my kid, by the way, having one kid is
my daughter bent $1,000 iPad in a U shape, and she doesn't know what happened to it. She's like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, you on a fucking skateboard. How do you know
what happened?
No.
Let me tell you what happened. The reason that happened is because she's your daughter, Donnie, and you are from Somerville, and you're fucking crazy. By the way, not another shout out to the sponsors, but we have some Ballad Big Mouse gear that came in the last couple of days, the winners. Still waiting on the stream mate for Brandon, but he said the 90s F-35s, Donnie. These things are slick, dude. And then I think those are Lowry's. I think these are Parnas.
Listen, Lowry's not getting those bags.
Oh, those are sweet.
I don't like them.
Dude, Lowry's not getting those bags till I get my blue side rights back. Like, you heard the story, right?
No,
you heard
one's
the story.
Buried. One's buried.
Dude, one's buried, but all four were next to his board. Like, I might do 10 minutes on this on the first Dogcast back. Like the funny thing was I saw them, but I wasn't sure they were mine. And I just said like nice round, and then he immediately like sent me a direct message. Like, dog, I found the other bag. I'm like, oh really? Your dog buried it and now you found it? Like it looks like it's in perfect condition. Like, come on, dog, get your homework, Lowry. Come on. Like, what type of characters are we hanging out with here, Don? You know?
Well, people will be able
Cornhole
to see on
degenerates.
Friday when we have McCracken on. When I have McCracken on to see just what the Doghouse is about, because I know he goes on a big thing about the Doghouse, how great you guys are. And
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to listen. I can't wait to listen to McCracken live on tape. I am absolutely ecstatic. Seeing as I talk to him twice a day, probably nothing I haven't heard before, but just hearing him gush about the game of Cornhole is like it's. By the way, I have gone out to dinner with McCracken and his wife. I want to put this on the record. His wife is an absolute sweetheart, lovely woman who has to deal with Pat on a regular basis, and that like immediately gets you into heaven. I think like pretty much that's how it works.
Well, the one thing I'm upset about is while McCracken's on, I do not get to comment to capture more flop sweat. Because if it was live and we could comment, it'd be worse.
Yeah.
Sean, I got one last question for you.
Shoot, man.
What you drinking?
Wait,
Currently,
what are you
drinking?
Are you having a beer?
It's over in my fridge in my garage. I haven't.
I didn't know, by the way. I didn't know that Dane actually did that voice. I thought it was really Mickey Mouse.
No, he just does a really good impersonation, and we were just messing around the one day after the show, and we were really drunk, and he did it. I'm like, all right, we're gonna record it and use it somehow.
I thought it was like a drop like from Mickey Mouse. Then Donnie's like, you idiot. He's like, it's fucking Dane. Dude. He's like, come on.
Well, that's only because Jackass told me.
Yeah, Donnie had to tell me afterwards there was no Santa Claus too. So I found that out tonight too. It's a bummer.
That's rough though. That's
rough, it was rough.
Day.
We'll continue this here on the end of it here, but I want to thank Donnie, Brendan on, and then Sean for you dropping in at the end here. And we hopefully we'll all be throwing bags fairly soon. Sean gets to do it now. But
I'm throwing fucking gasoline right now.
Oh, wait a minute. Sean, before we go, Ben Toms, his cousin's dad won the Powerball in PA. So,
okay.
I don't know, but I thought it was bowling. So, because you guys hate bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a lesbian. Absolutely. I don't want to marry my lesbian. By the way, Ben Tom might be my new favorite person in the world. Unbelievable information coming out of this individual.
He is my new spirit animal.
Yes. He's it.
Thank you guys for being on. Thanks everyone for watching. And if you haven't, check out the new Patreon page for the Down and Back. Like I keep saying, I need Sarah McLachlan singing in the background because for only $1 a month, you can help out the Down and Back of Corn Dog, or $5, whatever you choose. But yeah, thank you guys for coming on. Like, subscribe.
For $10 a month, we'll never record again. There's that too.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, thanks.
$20, he takes his shirt off. 15, like whatever. I've been in this type of game before.
Keep throwing your virtual bags, and we'll be back playing soon. See you guys
next
next
boys,
week.
we out.
Later.
All right.